You can't see us anywhere except Over the Top Rope Wrestling on YouTube and, of course, other social medias. But, you know, for the sake of the video, you can't see me anywhere other than YouTube. Anyways, there's a lot to talk about. In fact, a huge news story just broke yesterday in the world of wrestling. Let's talk about it first. R-Truth, who many people, including myself, thought was going to be a lifer in WWE. I mean, now listen, here's my thing. I understand why they did it, and we can get into that. But also, it's like, you could have just changed him to like a Legends deal or something, which I still think, seeing all the social media backlash, if this is a real thing, which we'll also get into, I do think they'll just give him a Legends deal. But what are your thoughts?
Shocking. I didn't believe it. I waited. I made a short about it, which it would be posted on this channel too. But I didn't believe until like 4 o'clock after it got announced at like 9, I think, or something like that. I woke up and it was announced. That's all I know. I didn't believe it until like I saw multiple news sources post it, and I still don't believe it.
Yeah, I was at the gym. And I was working, right, and in between reps, I was just scrolling Twitter, and I see R-Truth's tweet. I think it was like 9 minutes after he posted. I'm like, what the fuck? But anyways,
last weekend he was on Saturday Night's Main Event.
We know yesterday was June 1st. Obviously, as of recording this, it's Monday, June 2nd. As you guys know, we film on Mondays, so tonight will be Monday Night Raw. As of filming, today is June 2nd. It was broken yesterday, June 1st. My thing is, what if the R-Truth character, which we all know, is a comedy act, has like the CTE gimmick. What if the R-Truth character thought yesterday was April 1st, is doing it as an April Fool's joke, and is going to come out on Raw tonight or SmackDown this Friday and say, April Fool's, guys, I got you. And then it's all Truth, this isn't April, we're in June. And he's, oh, my bad. That would be hilarious. I think if everybody in the world is in on it and they have managed to trick the entire internet, I think that would be the most legendary moment, one of the most legendary moments in wrestling history if they've managed to trick the entire internet with this. Because everything is telling me that there's no way Truth could have been released. And I understand he's a 53, 54-year-old guy. He's not going to be able to wrestle forever. However, I mean, once they get to a certain age, like in their 50s usually when most wrestlers retire. Around late 30s, 40s is a wrestler's
not really
prime.
Nowadays.
And then 50s when they retire. Nowadays they seem to be staying longer, but Truth is well into his 50s. He doesn't wrestle often. He wrestles sometimes. I feel like you can just have him as a comedy act that shows up spontaneous. Maybe even if he's like an assistant general manager role.
Whoa.
Kind of like how Santino Marella is the GM of TNA. What if you had R-Truth show up on? What if you had R-Truth be like Nick Aldis's assistant GM, and then Truth
would be
and then Truth thinks, since Nick Aldis was a TNA guy, he shows up on TNA thinking that one's WWE since Santino's there. And then you have Truth and Santino, which would be comedy gold, and honestly, Santino has to tell Truth, you're on the wrong show.
That's funny. I was about to say go send him down to NXT with Ava, but she only been on NXT, so it kind of won't make sense.
With Shawn Michaels
and all that.
Well, if you sent him down there with Shawn Michaels, he would call him Johnny Gargano.
Yeah, then like fucking Triple H come out tonight. Truth, you all went fired.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Tommaso Ciampa, shut the fuck up. Something like that.
Yeah, he's like, Tommaso Ciampa, why you out here, bro? Well, I mean, he is a SmackDown guy, and so is DIY. So, if he were to come out and say April Fools, it might Ciampa and Gargano could come out to attack him, and he could be like, hey, Triple H, why'd you fire me?
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't know. There's so many possibilities they could do if they change their minds, if it is real and they change their minds.
Well, they can't really change their minds. They're like, no way.
I'm saying they could sign him. I really do think he'll be signed to a Legends deal. I really...
Down the road, because I kind of know all the wrestlers, or a decent amount that signed to Legend is.
Right.
Every wrestler that get a figure kind of get signed to Legends there, so it's like...
They've just recently signed Hornswoggle to a Legends deal, so they're signing all the comedy acts to Legends deals, which means Truth's gonna get a Legends deal. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Every wrestler doesn't get, even Sting. I see him coming back to WWE.
I don't think Sting. No, I think Sting's on a Legends deal with AEW.
I see him coming down the road down the.
He's
We don't get other WWE figures.
He's already in the Hall of Fame
Yeah.
with WWE. He won't be back. He's an AEW guy for the rest of his career.
I don't think so. I see him coming back, even if it 10 years down the road, or even if I don't want to wish this on him, but if he passes away, then his family signs with WWE. And
his
gives them
kids?
permission. Yeah.
I think they'll sign with AEW. They've already had a match on AEW.
No, I mean like not the kids. Not the family.
Oh, like his wife. Like
yeah,
how
his
Dana,
wife
like Dana
gives them
Warrior.
permission. Yeah, the
Yeah.
wife gives permission and signing legends to something like that. I mean, Sting kids were going to AW. I said that forever now. I don't see them going WWE.
Sting's one kid looks just like him, dude. When they had that match in
AEW,
AEW, I was like, bro, this guy looks just like his dad.
It's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, I've kind of just come up with that truth scenario on the spot. If I'm being the assistant GM and then swapping shows, I feel like if you don't want to give him a wrestling contract, you can sign him to a Legends deal, have him be the assistant general manager. You can even have weeks where he comes out and like books matches and tries.
Teddy Long type of.
Yeah, you can have it where he even tries to put Nick Aldis in a match because he still remembers Nick Aldis being a wrestler.
Nick Aldis
so he doesn't know better.
Randy Orton is happening that way with Aldis making it official for SummerSlam.
Yeah, well that's the rumor now is that
now watch him
Aldis
say like
Orton at SummerSlam.
Randy Orton was Nick Aldis for the fucking TNA.
Yeah, for the TNA World Title or something.
No, Slammiversary. Yeah, that would called. Then they book at SummerSlam anyway.
Yeah.
That should be good though. So Trick Williams, AEW.
Right, on the topic
no,
of
not
TNA.
AEW. TNA
On the topic
champion,
of TNA, Trick Williams has defeated Joe Hendry
a bunch of people
to win the TNA World Title.
I got some friends that watch, or they came downstairs when I was watching Mania Night 2. They were like, yo, the two of them watched wrestling before. My brother don't, or he did, but they were all popping for Randy Orton. Then Joe Hendry came out. Then they all popped for him because like a year ago that was a big fucking meme. But anyway, all the non-wrestling fans in my friend group literally just fucking hates Trick Williams because he put the title off of Joe Hendry.
Well, see, I feel like Joe Hendry is that guy. I feel like there's always a guy from like every era or every few years. There's a new guy that and it's usually somebody that's never actually that big that just blows up.
He blows up.
That brings all the eyes onto non-wrestling fans.
Literally what happened.
For example, the previous one I think was Rhea Ripley. Nobody, there's a few people that saw something in Ripley, but nobody really thought Ripley was going to be a huge superstar.
Yep.
And then she blew the hell up, and now she is dragging in more eyes from outside the product than probably anybody other than Logan Paul.
Let's just say not really just because she good at wrestling. I think everyone knows what the weird reason is.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying
but even Liv Morgan too.
Other than Logan Paul, I think Rhea Ripley was probably that person over the last few years that has dragged in the most outside eyes into wrestling, and now I feel like it's turning into Joe Hendry. I feel like Joe Hendry's taken that title from Ripley, since Ripley's not really doing too much right now. And then I honestly feel like the next one could end up being Cross, if they push Cross to the level that people are saying.
I feel like Cross would bring back old WWE fans. Yeah. That actually watch, but they watched at WrestleMania 40, then they got out of it, now Cross getting pushed, and they would
But anyways, Trick Williams, I think that's the perfect guy, if you're going to take an NXT guy to dethrone. And who would have thought Trick Williams would be a bigger star than Carmelo? Dude, when they were paired together a couple years ago, I was like, okay, they're going to go up to the main roster, probably win the tag belts, and Carmelo's going to be the star, and Trick's going to be his sidekick. But, dude, Trick as of right now, is a bigger star than Carmelo.
Honestly, in my eyes, they both even.
And I think
because Carmelo Hayes is a mid-card on SmackDown doing good things.
But he's also working with The Miz, which is one of the greatest of all time.
I would dream to be in the position that. But also, I would dream to become with that Trick. Bro. I feel like when you're talking about a main eventer on NXT compared to a mid-card on SmackDown, They're on the same level to a point.
Yeah, but
Like,
it's
yes.
not just a main eventer. It's somebody that is the first ever WWE
that's
superstar to
crazy.
hold the TNA title.
I feel like down the road, like, I'm not gonna say Carmelo Hayes. I like him, but like I like Whoop That Trick more than Carmelo.
Oh, Whoop
Hayes.
That Trick's way more over than him.
Yeah, literally, it's really is.
Maybe for now. Maybe Carmelo will be big with Miz as his manager. But, anyways, I haven't really given my full thoughts on Trick yet. I think it's an amazing decision. As much as I love Joe Hendry, I think Joe Hendry is going to sign with WWE imminently.
Yeah,
probably the day his TNA contract expires, he's going to walk right into WWE, which is basically the same thing at this point. Because especially if he goes down to NXT, he'll just be flipping between TNA and NXT anyway. He's already doing that. But he'll be officially signed to WWE, which means he'll get more, WWE opportunities, which is practically what they're doing now.
It's kind of crazy though, and I want to make a video on this. I just haven't got the chance to. 5 years ago, Kenny Omega won the championship with Swan. Now, 5 years later, Trick Williams won it.
Yeah.
In WWE. It's crazy how shit happens.
AEW had a partnership with TNA, and everybody was like, oh, Tony Khan's going to buy TNA. And then he bought ROH, and now WWE's partnered with TNA.
Yeah.
But I seen Dolph Ziggler, or now they call him Nick Nemeth, which is his real name, like call out Joe Hendry, get so mad at him. He's like, how could you let somebody from another company take our title? And that's obviously storyline, but at first I believed it. I was like, yo, he really means this. And that's another thing. Now, this is a completely different subject, but sort of the same. And I think I've said this in a previous podcast, I don't like how they don't just let, now that they're partnered, they should just let all the TNA guys that went to WWE and all the WWE guys that went to TNA just keep their names. Like, now that they're partnered, why can't you call him Dolph Ziggler?
They're a bunch of legal shit, too. Possibly.
I know, and I know kayfabe is dead. But but if we're looking at kayfabe terms, right? Let's say a world does not exist outside of wrestling. If we're saying kayfabe is still alive and real, we're watching wrestling, right? And you see Dolph Ziggler on WWE, and then you see the exact same guy show up in TNA, and his name's Nick Nemeth. That doesn't make any sense.
It definitely true, but I feel like Dolph Ziggler, I don't know if he said this on a podcast, but looking at him, looking at how his attitude always been, he like the Matt Cardona to Zack Ryder. He don't want to go back to his WWE name because he knows he can make his name bigger.
And the thing with Elias when I get, because they had a whole storyline, Elias is dead, and now Elijah's here, and he had that storyline where he pretended to be his brother Ezekiel. Allegedly, I think they were the same person, but allegedly they were. I mean, I think.
Yo, dead ass.
I think they were two different people.
Nah,
but allegedly
dead
they're the
ass.
same person.
Like dead ass. Like at that time of wrestling, I was decently watching. I didn't. I was watching, but wasn't on social media at all. Basically, for wrestling. I thought they were two fucking separate people. Like, no bullshit. I thought they were two separate people.
I remember when Ezekiel first came out, I was like, yo, what the fuck?
I actually, for like a month straight, I like, nah, bro, that not alive. Like, I was like, Kevin, I'm being dead ass. I was Kevin, no. Didn't Kevin Owens
Kevin Owens thought they were the same person.
No, I was like, actually, nah, KO, you like tripping, bro. They are not the same.
You were getting like mad at Kevin Owens for thinking that way?
Yeah, bro, I was like, nah, they the same. No, they the different people.
I mean, it's like Chad Gable and El Grande. Everybody thinks they're the same person too.
Oh yeah, El Grande is.
El Grande.
Someone else.
Yeah, it's
crazy. People think it the same.
I know.
Can't believe that.
But yeah, Trick Willie, I think he'll have a great reign. I think the guy that defeats him is probably going to be Mike Santana, and they actually have a match for the title tomorrow night. Ooh. Now, it would not surprise me at all if they give it back to a TNA guy tomorrow night and they literally just put it on Trick Williams just for the shock value and to sell the merch that says the WWE guy won a TNA belt. It would not surprise me at all if like everybody in TNA comes out, costs Trick the title, and they bring it back to TNA. Because I really do think if they're going to have a partnership, I think the only thing with the partnership is that they show up on each other's shows. I don't think they want each other having each other's titles. Otherwise, there'd be no point in Hendry leaving TNA to go to WWE because it'd be the same thing at that point.
No, but I do see something now, and I didn't actually, I don't know the word, but in a previous episode of the podcast, I said WWE would never put them in a position of having like a like the War Games match, or needing the War Game match to happen in February, just because.
Oh, I think you do TNA. I think you do TNA versus NXT.
Yeah, I was going to get to that, but not War Games or. That can happen.
TNA NXT Worlds Collide. Do a War Games main event.
Yeah, or do something TNA like that. Team WWE.
Especially if Trick and them just.
I'm not gonna say War Games. I'm gonna say like a 5-on-5.
Yeah. Well, what if you have like Trick and all the TNA guys? But
if they were going to do that, why didn't they build up to it sooner?
Right. Well, I mean, they probably wanted to get some good attention on the partnership first. But what if you have Trick and like all the NXT guys? Just come out. Just take all the TNA titles. Yeah. Just take everything.
Oh, and not even that. Not even that. It's just like tomorrow night, Trick Williams and Mike
Santana.
Yeah, Santana have the match. LAX. TNA people came out. They almost cost Trick the match. Like, let's say almost a 3 count. NXT people, literally everything fucking go bananas. 5-on-5, 4 games. I'm
saying you have Trick and a bunch of NXT guys, maybe like Ethan Page or something. People, you can even have some people that used to be in TNA. Just take all the TNA titles, and then they cut a promo like, we've always been the bigger company. WWE has always been better. You've always been like the little brother. You're the Mets, we're the Yankees, like some shit like that. Like you've always been little brother to us. And
I don't think
and then TNA retaliates, and they're like I know it won't happen because WWE's ego's too big. But especially if they were putting Team TNA over at the end, it would be so sick.
No, but I don't think like a company to a company, take everything we have. Our championships, but then props. But the thing is, but then that gets eyes on TNA because then people that watch NXT see everybody with a TNA belt, and then they're like, these are the TNA champions. Now I gotta watch TNA to see these people show up. Personally, if I was a wrestling owner, I would never do that. But that's just me.
I mean, if I was a wrestling owner, I would never put my main belt on somebody from another company, and they already did that. So
yeah, but I think.
Let's be honest.
It was bound to happen.
Pretty
soon. Look at Kenny Omega.
TKO is probably just going to outright buy TNA pretty soon.
Not pretty soon, but down the line.
I mean, they're releasing guys like R-Truth, Carlito, comedy acts that are there every week that people love. They're saving up money to make a big purchase. They're going to end up buying TNA. They already bought AAA. The only bad thing
is, too, with that, if WWE really buys everything, then TKO doesn't have what I call it a wrestling weekend.
A monopoly.
Literally,
They're going to have a monopoly over wrestling, and that's going to be Tony Khan, who owns
every
EW,
3
ROH.
weeks, Tampa Bay or any town, Las Vegas, going to have 5 wrestling events.
Right. Well, then
combo tickets for all of them.
Then it's going to be Tony Khan with AEW, ROH, and a partnership with New Japan against TKO, which would own WWE, AAA, and TNA.
But AAA is just like. They say their own company, but
But they are actually bought by WWE, so they're just going to become a third brand. They said, you remember Jeremy Borash?
Yeah.
He's going to run it.
Oh, okay.
Which is,
right now they having their own shows and still in.
You know what I say?
They have the show in Mexico.
I say if you wanna make AAA interesting, give it to Paul Heyman. Let Paul Heyman run it.
But he's too busy. That's the thing. Down the line, possibly, but right now.
Paul Heyman ran ECW, gave WWE their biggest ECW competition. Why not have?
I see what you were saying.
Why not have him run AAA and then you?
He doesn't play double duties.
Well, when he's done with Seth, then you have him run AAA.
Yeah. Definitely, that would be insane, though.
He turned maybe this Seth experiment fails. And then Paul Heyman's like, you know what? I couldn't take over WWE with Seth Rollins. I'm going to do it myself. And he just runs AAA and tries to...
I can see that happening, but I don't think they're going to drop it.
There's no way that they're going to ever do probably another invasion angle like they did with WCW. I don't think they'd even try because they wouldn't get the same effect. But what if the Seth thing fails in a couple months? And then it turns out Paul Heyman's just been running the thing in AAA behind the scenes and he just takes over... I don't know. There's so many options they could do that they're scared to do.
Talking about Seth Rollins, how do you feel about Bronson Reed?
I love Bronson Reed.
Same. I think everyone at first I was like, is that Jeff Cobb?
No.
I'm like, oh, never mind Bronson Reed.
At first, I didn't really like Bronson Reed, and this is the same with a lot of wrestlers. At first, I didn't like Bronson Reed. I didn't really care. I was like, why are they pushing this guy of all people? But now he's grown on me so much. So, breaking news as we're filming this, The Miz has completely removed WWE from all of his Twitter, all of his social media. He's unfollowed them on social media, and his contract is up later this year.
Now he acting like Stephon Diggs.
I really hope that he's not another R-Truth and Carlito scenario, because I do feel like The Miz still has a lot more left in him. Miz, I think, can be a great manager after he's done wrestling.
That's kind of what he is now, though.
Yeah, but he's kind of right now. They're kind of a tag team. I feel like once he's done wrestling, he can be a man. Maybe that's the guy that retires Miz. You do Miz Mello in a career career match or something.
Yeah.
And Mello wins, and then Miz just becomes his manager out of respect. But with the way things are going in WWE, it seems like Miz might be next. If he is,
they also gotta make room for the new talent too.
Right.
It's getting to that point.
If he is, Miz is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest of all time, which nobody was expecting. But
I like Miz. I hated
Miz.
him, but like he was a heel.
I love Miz.
When
Miz was a heel as Intercontinental Champion,
oh my god,
my favorite Miz
2016, 2017, with Dolph Ziggler, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, SmackDown Live right there. Oh my!
I know that was so
bro,
good.
That was peak.
But anyways,
but even with Carlito, I never like her. Oh, I do, but like
I like Carlito.
I like him, but like
that means you're not.
So
That means you're not cool.
Oh no, like I like him, but like now, everyone like building up all this hype, bring him back. He hasn't done shit.
Wrestle. Yeah, he doesn't even wrestle that much, but that's not even his fault. He
I
just
know
won the world title in Puerto Rico last night.
I saw that. Yeah, it's just like to the point of like, why did you bring him in for like 4 years and did nothing with
They
him?
brought him in as a comedy act, basically, like the comedy act in a Judgment Day. But
And
yeah, Truth, Carlito, hopefully not Miz now. Maybe Miz is just trying to stir up the pot like he always does.
Where every wrestler fight, whenever they get mad or something happens,
Yeah.
I just feel like look at Stephon Diggs, like get the fuck out of here with the biz.
But if they get rid of the Miz, they would have gotten rid of Truth and Miz. At that point, I'm not trusting nobody to be like. I'm not even trusting them to lock in Seth Rollins or Reigns, bro. Like if they're
Reigns is safe.
If they're getting rid of those people, I don't think anybody's safe.
Any
honestly.
small one is safe.
I don't
unless
think
they do something stupid.
I don't think anybody's safe if they get rid of Miz and Truth. Because they've been around so long. Miz is the only two-time Grand Slam champion that has also won 2 Money in the Banks. I mean, the guy's
nuts. But like I feel like it's like Miz is a mid-carder. He's not doing anything right now.
right.
All
So
Truth
that's the
got
guy.
done with his shit. It's
Miz is a guy you keep as a producer. The way I see it. That's a guy you keep as a producer. That's a guy you put on the creative team.
No, is Bubba Ray doing? No,
Bubba Ray's still wrestling. Bubba Ray wrestled in
Devon is doing
Canadian
producing.
Maple Leaf Wrestling or whatever it's called.
But,
Devon's a producer, yeah.
Then who else? Hayes.
Jason Jordan, Curtis Axel.
I saw him Monday Night Raw like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, it's Kurt Angle's son.
Yeah. I forget what day, but I saw him coming out as
Finley. I mean,
popping.
Miz. You know, honestly, if they're gonna turn Miz into a producer, I say you put Miz on LFG, because if LFG is supposed to be a Tough Enough type show, Miz, even though he didn't win Tough Enough, I consider him a winner of Tough Enough because he's the only guy from that season that actually is as big as he is.
Yeah.
So I say if you're gonna get rid of Miz, you're going to put Miz as a producer, whatever you're gonna do with him. If this contract is his last wrestling contract, bring him in for LFG. Have him be either the host of LFG, have him be one of the fucking legends on LFG. He can coach the wrestlers on promos. He still wrestles, so he can coach them on wrestling. He can be a trainer. He can coach them on gimmicks. I mean, Miz would be the perfect LFG
just
guy.
throw him in the performance center.
Yeah.
He's a valuable guy that I would never let go if I was.
The thing with Truth is like, I get it if you don't have Truth as a producer because I mean I really think Truth would thrive in an assistant GM role, and I think Truth is the type of guy. He's 53 years old. He's been wrestling 17, almost. I think it's 20 years or something. I think it's 27 years he's been wrestling. Whatever it is, he's a guy. I'm sure he would take a pay cut just for a GM role. Miz, I'm sure would take a pay cut because he's a company guy through and through. would take a pay cut to be a producer. I don't see either one of those guys leaving to go to another company.
Same.
Like Carlito, I'm sure will go to AEW or something.
No,
but
he going to Puerto Rico.
Miz and Truth, I do not see them going anywhere else. So if they're not going to go anywhere else, bring Miz in as a producer and a trainer or a coach. We don't even know if Miz is leaving, by the way. I'm just speculating with all the evidence we're being given. It seems like Miz might be leaving. Truth.
I think he's just playing. A bunch of wrestlers do it just so you can get talking about them.
Yeah, I mean, Cross changed his name to Killer Cross.
I saw. I was popping.
And then Truth. I'm going to die on this hill until it happens. Bring Truth in as the assistant GM to Nick Aldis. There's so much you can do with that and TNA and Nick Aldis' TNA history. So much you can do with it.
Something else tonight, the first time in history, Michael Cole was wearing.
Yeah, he's wearing a tank top on Raw.
Bro, I'm making it such a big deal than it has to be, but I don't care.
I
That's
cool.
it's funny.
And the thing is, the bet with McAfee was McAfee wears a suit. We've seen McAfee wear a suit, just not like a full suit and tie, but we've seen him wear a suit. But I much rather would see Michael Cole in a tank top than McAfee in a
It's funny
suit.
as shit. Bro, I like that type of shit. Like
because it gives the commentators personality rather
Yeah.
than just a random voice that you hear every week that fucking sits there and.
Because everyone knows, especially a college football fan, how the personality of fucking Pat McAfee. And Michael Cole was always a robot, but since Pat McAfee actually
Michael Cole's the greatest commentator of all time, and I think Pat McAfee's what pushed him to that.
Yes, that was literally what I was about to say. Basically, he was always good, but he always sounded like a robot and had no personality. But now he's showing it perfect.
Michael Cole has always been an amazing play-by-play announcer. I feel like Jim Ross had the edge over him only because Jim Ross had a gimmick, had a personality. The barbecue sauce cowboy that says "Bah God" all the time, But now
Paul Heyman was always good at everything, but he ain't.
Right. Paul, I don't feel like was ever really.
He was the best at the manager. I was about to say he good at everything, but not the best at anything. But that's not true.
Michael Cole is now, to me, he's already overtaken JR now that he has a personality.
For me, he is. But any Western fan that watched when Jim Walsh was doing commentary, I can see why they hold him above.
Yeah, but
Michael Cole.
When it comes to play-by-play, I mean, the only edge to me that Jim Ross had over Michael Cole was the fact that he had a gimmick. He was the cowboy barbecue sauce guy, and now Michael Cole's got a gimmick where he's the serious, guy that plays off of McAfee's silliness. I feel like it's the perfect blend, and I feel like now that Cole actually has a gimmick, he has overtaken JR. But I can definitely see both arguments. Speaking of JR, get well soon, JR. He got diagnosed with some sort of cancer. I don't remember which one it was, but get well soon, JR. Yesterday was actually National Cancer Survivor Day, and I think yesterday was the day that JR beat it. So I mean, congrats to JR. That's awesome. Get well soon, JR. I've been going back this whole week with my girlfriend since she's getting into wrestling now. I showed her all the previous Rumbles during Rumble week. So now Money in the Bank week, I'm showing her all the previous Money in the Bank matches.
Yeah.
2010 was wild. They had 3 winners. They had Jack Swagger win it at Mania.
Yeah. And
then the same year, they had a Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and Kane won it, and Miz.
Crazy shit right there.
Now Triple H is saying he don't even like Money in the Bank.
You should throw that in and actually because that actually a fun fact.
Yeah, I'll just sit here and you could rant about fucking Money in the Bank and I'll be like, by the way, did you know?
Yeah.
Oh, is it rolling? And I'm just... Alright.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was rolling.
Oh my god.
So, as of recording, this is the go-home episode of Monday Night Raw before the Money in the Bank pay-per-view.
I do want to
see something,
my
favorite pay-per-view of the year. So tonight on Raw, there are 2 qualifying matches for the final 2 spots in the Money in the Bank matches. We have
men's and women's, or
yes, the one of each. We have Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv Morgan.
Stephanie
versus Ivy Nile, in a qualifying match. First of all, before we get into Money in the Bank, let's talk about Stephanie. her move when she takes her knees on.
Yeah,
how are they gonna do that? Is Pat McAfee gonna be one that does that now? Because Booker T's not calling the matches anymore.
Bro, Booker T needs to get caught up for NXT.
I feel like Pat could do it just as well though. Imagine Pat going like Pat.
Yeah, he done do something.
I think Pat's gonna over. They could swerve us and have Michael Cole be the one that does it. That would be so funny. But no, Pat will probably be the one that does it because you have to have the sound effects.
Yeah, bro, you got to. Because Pat would be like, let me be like Booker T.
Yeah. Unless they just rely on the crowd to do the, because the crowd's definitely gonna do it. But anyways,
but down the road, I do want to see this at least one time in my life. Pat McAfee and Booker T do a commentary.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the twin, like right now, the twin commentary, like Michael Cole,
Wade
Booker
Barrett.
T. No, and Pat.
You don't like Wade Barrett?
I do.
I love.
But
Wade
I would
Barrett
rather them three as commentators.
My favorite commentator in WWE is Corey Graves and Wade Barrett, but neither one of them are play-by-play guys. So if I got to throw in a play-by-play, I say get me Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, and.
I like Corey Graves, but I can't leave Pat McAfee out there.
And yeah, but Corey, I think Corey is amazing, and he deserves way much more than he gets. I want to see him return to the ring.
I was a big Corey Graves fan until Pat McAfee came along. Now it's just like he got pushed to the side, but I'm still a fan of him.
But anyways, back to Money in the Bank.
Money
The second qualifying match is CM Punk versus AJ Styles versus El Grande Americano. We could talk about these matches on the predictions video that we're going to do for Money in the Bank. So watch that one. Anyways, now a little history about Money in the Bank and, our opinions. And Triple H doesn't like Money in the Bank. Do you want to kick us off on the Money in the Bank subject?
I do want to see this, though. I always liked it, especially in 2017, I think it was. On Friday night, they all better get on ladders and fucking have a
that was
the
2012.
That they did
and then they did it again in 2017.
Bro, they need to do it again, bro. What's it
called? They should just make it a yearly occurrence.
That's what I mean.
It was 2017. 2017 was Styles, Nakamura, Corbin.
No, they did it again,
Jericho.
too.
Wasn't Jericho in that one? Maybe not.
Maybe
Sami Zayn was in that one.
Braun Strowman was also in it.
Really?
Yeah. I remember him on the ladder.
Yeah, Strowman won the case, I think.
Probably 2018 and 2017.
Yeah, or 2019, something like that.
But anyway, I want to see that shit happen. I don't know if it doesn't happen. I want to see it. That shit fun as fuck.
Yeah. Did you know that in 2010, a little fun fact about Money in the Bank, 2010 they had 3 Money in the Bank winners because they did a ladder match at WrestleMania that year, at WrestleMania 26, and then they had the first ever Money in the Bank pay-per-view the same year, just a couple months later, because Jack Swagger cashed in so quick, and
Kane
and The Miz won it, which I love Money in the Bank, so I say more Money in the Bank the better. I would not be surprised if pretty soon they put it back on WrestleMania or just get rid of it completely because Triple H apparently hates Money in the Bank. But next year they're doing Money in the Bank in August after SummerSlam, and New Orleans gets it. That's their reward for getting WrestleMania taken away from them.
Yo, bring Mania to Philly again. Let's go.
Bring Mania to Toms River, New Jersey.
Don't leak us.
I'm not gonna leak. I'm gonna mute it. But
okay, good. I'm making sure I don't need
Toms
to get
River,
doxxed.
New Jersey.
I don't need to get doxxed.
They had an NXT show here one time.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite fucking live events I've ever been to. I don't even have to travel that far.
They get back into Money in the Bank.
Yeah. All right, Money in the Bank.
What else is there?
I think they're trying to make me root against LA Knight is what they're doing by putting CM Punk in the match. I think Triple H watches our podcast.
Jeff Hardy doesn't just do his Swanton Bomb instead of the boyfriend.
I think Triple H watches our podcast and has heard how much I'm rooting for LA Knight and said, you know what, I'm going to put your all-time favorite CM Punk in the match so that you can't root for LA Knight because now I'm stuck in a corner where I don't know who to root for. I want LA Knight to win the briefcase. But if CM Punk wins the case, I'm not going to be mad that LA Knight
lost.
It's like
who you want to save, your mom or your girlfriend?
Well, I think that Punk and LA... I don't...
Basically what it is.
Bro, I mean, I think Triple H watches our podcast. Is what it comes down to.
I guess.
Yeah, he definitely does. Otherwise, he wouldn't be putting Punk in the match to make me not root for LA Knight.
Nah, Punk ain't winning though.
But the thing is, I feel like if Punk's in that match, Punk's the kind of guy that would say, "I'm not winning this case." Kind of like Daniel Bryan did in AEW with the world title. Punk would be like, you can't put this case on me. You got to give it to that guy.
Yeah.
LA Knight has to win. I mean, we'll talk about this on the predictions video, but yeah, I do like the participants though this year. One thing I do wish they would do is go back to 8 participants.
No, 8 is too many, bro. But I hate it.
And I know that when there was 8, they had more like mid carders in there, like Lord Tensai was in a Money in the Bank match just because they had 8. But I feel like it gives more people an opportunity, more people a time to shine. And what the fuck's with the triple threat qualifying match, dude? Triple H has a weird obsession with triple threat matches. And it's so like,
the one person can take the pin and the other person
exactly. And that way, if it's a singles match between the jobber and the big star, you know the big star is going to win. So the triple threat makes it less predictable because they got 2 big stars in there. But the jobber always takes the pin. I'm like, bro, this is such lazy booking, bro.
It is, but isn't.
Maybe I'm just a nostalgia whore, but like, bro, like I liked it better when they had the one-on-one qualifiers. And even the tournaments are all triple threats now. It's like, bro, I'm sick of all the fucking triple threat matches are supposed to be something that you do when there's 3 people that absolutely hate each other, like Punk, Roman, and Rollins. But that triple threat didn't mean as much because they just do triple threats every fucking week on Raw. It's like, dude, I'm sick of the fucking triple threat matches. Go back to the singles matches for tournaments and these qualifying matches and everything. You're having too many triple threat matches. I don't know what Triple H's obsession with triple threat matches is. I really think he just wants to have a jobber in there so the jobber could take the pin, and then the other 2 big stars are in the same match. Like we could be having CM Punk versus AJ Styles tonight on Raw. And as much as I love El Grande Americano, he don't belong in this match. We all know he's gonna lose. Like, Punk's gonna end up winning the 3-way, and then it's like, dude, like, you could just be doing Punk versus AJ.
I laughed my ass off if AJ Styles win.
No, Cross is probably gonna end up costing AJ Styles.
Then what's El Grande Americano?
I wouldn't be mad. Because,
I would laugh my ass off.
Because that means LA Knight's winning the briefcase, so I wouldn't be mad. If as much as, I mean, Punk's my all-time favorite, so I'm not gonna complain when Punk wins the case, but if Punk's in that match, you know he's winning it. Yeah. And he'll catch it on Cena. So it's like, dude. But, anyways.
Isn't that it?
That should be it,
yeah. Outro.
We'll see you next week. Yeah!
Oh, I